Okay, good morning. Please, good morning, everyone. Good morning, our valued customers. We welcome you to another edition and series of our weekly breakfast section of our marketing and fixed income reports. So can we go to the next slide? We'll be using this opportunity to see what transpire in equities market and the fixed income market, and then from there we'll go to our recommendation and the actions and our expectations for the week. On Friday, market took another direction. This time around, it took a negative direction. If you look at the previous week, week on week, market recorded 3.71%. But last week, market lost 0.42% week on week. And then we could see some profit taking on the portfolio realignment, which resulted to depreciation in the market. And then our year-to-date return eventually moderated to 39.95%. And then the all-share index, which is the key barometer that measures the market, also closed 104,647.37 basis points from the previous figure of 105,085.24 basis points. So week on week, market lost 0.42%. And then during the course of last week, we also witnessed that some stock listed in our market under the Fugas were responsible for the key movement in the market, and then which was the reason why the banking index also expanded during the course of last week. Access Corporation, which is under Fugas, FBN Holdings, and the United Bank for Africa, the three companies actually are the key drivers or movers of the market. And then the current market capitalization is now at 59.17 trillion. By the time you look at the contribution of these three companies, three banking stock that move the market, the total volume of the shares traded by these three companies amounted to 564.88 million units, and the value is about 16.99 billion. And then when you now look at their contribution to the entire market structure for the course of last week, they contributed in terms of volume 32.56%, and in terms of value, they also contributed 34.85%, because the entire worth of transaction in terms of volume that took place last week happens to be 1.73 billion units, while the value of the entire stock stood at 40.755 billion naira. And then even looking at the market breadth, it was also positive at the ratio of 2.21 ratio to 1%. So in terms of the sectoral performance, we also noticed that in the course of last week, financial service sector accounted for 73% of the entire transaction in the market, and then conglomerate also cornered 7%, consumer goods also cornered 6%, while other sectors also cornered 14%. So the financial service firm accounted for major transactions that took place in our market last week, week on week. So the other stocks that are also contributed, apart from these three major banks, the Tier 1 banks, the Access Bank, we also witnessed movements in the GTB and the Zenith Bank as well. So in terms of sectoral performance as well, the indices were also positive because 4 out of 5 indices on our coverage also closed positive. Week on week, NGX Industrial closed 0.5%. NGX Oil and Gas also closed 0.30%, and the NGX Banking closed 4.19%, different from what we had or we recorded in the previous week. That could be attributed to the movement we've seen in those stock under the Fugas. And the same thing NGX Insurance, we see some renewal interest in some insurance company, the likes of Lasaco, Massad Insurance, AICO. So that also brought NGX NGX Industrial, Insurance to 8.92% week on week, but NGX Consumer lost the week. It lost 0.36% week on week. So for the entire week, fourth sector recorded positive against one sector, which is NGX Consumer. It lost because there are some profit taking in some of the equities that is under that structure of an NGX Consumer. So the market movement was also moved in terms of appreciation. The market also recorded 50 gainers against 55 gainers we had in the previous week. Same for the market decliners. Market also recorded 32 decliners against 24 decliners witnessed in the previous week. This is the reason why equities markets closed negative during the course of last week. So this is just to show the dividend analyzed dividend yields and capital gain. Of course, we showcased this in our last presentation, and the valuation or the fair value of this company has not changed because we haven't seen any result or even coming into the market for us to be able to determine the true position. But we are still maintaining some of these recommendations: the Access Bank, the GTB, Stanbic, UBA, Zenith Bank, and the United Capital. The result of some of these banks has not hit the market, but we are in a high expectation that anytime soon, market is likely to get those results. And we are seeing renewed interest in some of these banking stocks that look promising and that have actually demonstrated a consistent dividend payments in the last 10 years. So we've seen renewed interest in some of these equities. So we are still maintaining all the parameters, but the only thing that has changed is just the price as at the 22nd of March, Friday. So the price will change, and as price changes, further parameter will also change in terms of analyzed yield. We are still maintaining our target price. The dividend yield will also change. So we are still maintaining this. You can look at it. We're going to send this thing out after the presentation. If there's a for you to ask questions regarding some of those recommendations. But the only thing that is different from this recommendation is the NEM Insurance. NEM Insurance has actually surpassed the target price. So on our recommendation, we are putting NEM Insurance on sale because it's overvalued, overpriced. So we've also taken a step ahead by looking at selected securities and trying to examine their history in terms of dividends, because you must have reasons for the action you are taking sometimes. We have these few selected securities, and we have been able to identify their dividend payment in the last 5 years, starting from the 2018, 2019, 2020, 21, and 2022. So the Access Bank, African Prudential, Custodian, GTB, NEM Insurance, Fidelity Bank, Massad Insurance, Mayer Baker, United Capital, and UP and ZD. In the last 5 years, this company, they have demonstrated good dividends payments. And then the schedule has actually tracked what they have paid. And towards the extreme end of this schedule, we've been able to look at the average payment. And then we are also expecting that this 2023, the result has not been released to the market, but we are also projecting that all these companies will still pay their full year dividends. And then based on their 9-month result, we have seen it in the market. So you see the projected dividend for 2023, and that will also guide our investment decision as an investor. And then the average of the 5-year dividend is also in this slide. So during the course of week, market only witnessed one dividend declaration, and that is the Initiate, is the company based in Port Harcourt. They're into waste management. It's also coming up is a growth stock. They only declared 6 kobo, and then the qualification date is 5th of July, and then payment date is 26th of July as well. The April registrar is also their registrar. So what are the expectations for the week? Of course, the market is going to witness series of changes. We expect mixed trading session this week because the MPC committee of the central bank is going to meet today and tomorrow, and then we'll talk about that later. But the second, apart from expecting the mixed trading session this week, we also expect to see a portfolio, a realignment and position taking in stock that have high possibility and track record of paying good dividends. We've seen movement in the Access Bank, we've seen movement in GTB, we've seen movement in the UPA, Zenith Bank, United Capital. Similar trend will also happen to stock with good potential. You see investor renewing their interest because we're in the high dividend expectation period. So all this stock, if you look at what the previous slide, we talked about the 5 years dividend payments. So investors have been assured that all these companies are going to pay their dividend for the 2023 financials. So we are expecting investors to have a kind of renewed interest in taking position in some of these equity because they are still undervalued. And then we're also expecting a market to react to the MPC meeting that is scheduled to hold today and tomorrow. And then we are expecting the committees to also tinker around the MPR while maintaining the other parameters variable, because the concern of the federal government and the Central Bank of Nigeria is to tame inflation that has gone to 31.70%, and the food inflation has also gone to 37%. That is the concern of monetary authority, and their responsibility is to ensure that there's price stability. So looking at the interest rate or the MPR and the market, they are not friendly at all. They work in different directions. So you will see reaction between today and tomorrow in the market, and then thereafter, the people can take a decision. But we want to assure you that all those things are temporary. What is very important in taking decision in equities market is to look at the valuation of those companies. So when you are buying a stock that is undervalued, you are good to go, because over time the price will still moderate to the real value, and then you get a return on your investment. And then we also market will also witness some sell-off. You see some fund movement. Some people are selling the PFAs, and some other institutional investors will be selling their equities to move part of their fund to the world, to the fixed income and the money market because of elevated yields. What is very important to every investor is to ensure that they get the best return based on their portfolio. So that is likely to happen in the market again. And then we also want to assure and encourage people that when such activities happen in the market and the market price continue to deplete, it is an opportunity for you. So that will also present an opportunity for the people that have been targeting specific stock into their portfolio. So the market will present opportunity of good entry prices around bellwether stocks and value stock for long-term investor. You've seen what happened in MTN. When MTN came to 118 naira, what happened? So people took advantage and they bought it. So when similar trend also happens in the market today and tomorrow because of the reaction and decision of the Committee of the Central Bank, so we will also encourage investors to take advantage of those depreciation in the prices. So the MTN is one of the value stock. Nestle is also a value stock, and then Okomo is also a value stock. So just round up this presentation. Over time, we're going to see market will see react positively. So some of these decisions being taken by the government, because we've seen what is happening in the world in foreign exchange market. So foreign exchange market is coming, it's a bit stable now, and the government has also, the central bank has also cleared some backlogs of almost $7 billion. So by the time there's stability within the economic system, it's going to have a positive impact and a good reflection in the equities market. And then it will now give you opportunity to be able to get a better return. So irrespective of what is happening in the other segment of the market, so taking some decision and buying some equities into your portfolio is also a good investment strategy. So our recommendation has been sent out by our research team, and then you look at it, they cut across buy, hold, and then sell. So if you have any question around those recommendations, we'll be glad to attend to those questions. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I'll be going through the fixed income market review. So very quickly, we saw that the interbank rates actually took a reversal after about 2 to 3 weeks of a bearish run, where the open buyback rates closed lower at 26.22%, and we saw the overnight rate close lower as well at 27.29%, which roughly is around the 400 basis point and 400 basis points on both rates respectively. And this is on the back of system liquidity that has improved. You know, we saw last week, despite the settlement of the FGN bond auction that happened last week, system liquidity still settled positive at an average of 52 billion by the close of the week. For the treasury bills market, you know, from last week, we saw some bullish run in that segment of the market. Bullish run was sustained last week, and that is also on the back of the improved demand that we saw following less suppressed liquidity in the system. What happens is once the market is very liquid, that supports demand, and when demand occurs in the market, you see that prices start to moderate. So that supported the bullish run we saw in the treasury bills market as people wanted to load on their holdings, and as a result of that, we saw the average yield in the market closed lower by 91 basis points, settled at 17.7%. Okay, we'll touch on expectation for the week, but one thing I would like to say at this point is this time in the market is the best time for any investor to actually take positions. And as we might all be aware, it's an high interest environment at this moment, and this is the best time for you to take positions and then to take advantage of the elevated rates in the market. For the OMO segment, we saw that the OMO segment also closed bullish, where average rates also declined by 28 basis points to close at 18.52. Quickly, we just look at the result of the FGN bond auction that took place last week, Monday. At the auction, the DMO had offered 450 billion across 3 maturities: the 3 years, March 2027, the 6 years, February 2031, and then the 10-year maturity on February 2034. And at the auction, we saw that total subscription was about 615 billion, which was less, would I say, aggressive, compared to what we've seen in previous at the previous auctions. And one major thing that I feel can be attributed to this is the number of investors actually remain on the sideline because they know that PC is meeting this week. Like my colleague rightly said, the Monetary Policy Committee of the Central Bank of Nigeria is meeting today and by tomorrow, and the expectation is that the rates would be increased at the auction. So what any rational investor would want to do is let me just stay on the sideline since I have a full assurance or probably a almost certain guarantee that rates will go up, so I can eventually enter into the market. So that actually explained the less appetite that we saw from investors last week. By the end of the auction, a total amount of 475.67 billion was sold by the DMO to investors at a closing yield of 19.94 on the March 27, 20% on the February 2031, and then 20.45 on the February 2035. And this is actually an interesting time in the bonds market because as we will see on the next slide, as you can see, the yield curve, ideally, an ideal yield curve should move upward. It should have an upward slope. But considering the dynamics in the market at the moment, you can even see that yields at the short end of the curve is almost at par with what we have at the long end of the curve. And that's simply because of the elevated rates we've seen on the shorter maturities or the shorter maturities. So that actually explains the flattening yield curve that we have. But the truth is this cannot be sustained. It's only a matter of time for the yield curve to realign itself and reposition itself. But while the yield curve is still this way, like I earlier said, this is the best time for any rational investor to actually take position and not to take advantage of the dynamics of the market at the moment. Quickly, the bonds market, following the auction result that we saw where yields are close higher, and really what we saw at the secondary market was expected as the rate also realigned itself with the auction results and then eventually closed bearish. On the tenors, across the various tenors, we saw that on the short end of the curve, rates increased by 126 basis points and 149 basis points at the long end of the curve. So basically, it's just to give us an overview of what happened at the last auction. So, but the focal point for this week is that MPC, okay, quickly, the foreign exchange markets, just like my colleague had said, we began to see some stability in the foreign exchange market, and that's because of the intervention by the central bank. I keep saying this, for how long can we continue for how long will the intervention be sustained? Excuse me, please. So what that implies is that the fiscal side, while the monetary side is doing their part, the fiscal side also needs to step up their games by ramping up our oil production, which is actually our major source of forex inflow into the country, in order to ensure that some of these intervention by the CBN is sustained over time. Quick one, next slide, please. So for the week, our outlook expectation is that the rates will actually trend higher, and that's on the back of the NTB auction that is holding on Wednesday. So for investors, 50 million and above, this is the market where we can play in because the minimum size to partake in the auction is actually 50 million. So there's an auction coming up on Wednesday. We've seen clients that have shown interest at the first auctions. So if you're a client and you're interested in going for the auction, you can please send us an email after. But let's note that the minimum size is actually 50 million for a client who might be interested in going for the auction. And this week, MPC is scheduled to meet tomorrow and next tomorrow. So what that tells us is that rates at the auction is definitely going to be interesting and it's going to be attractive as we expect that the MPR will be increased. So what that means is, like I said earlier, rational investor, now is the time, to pump in your funds into some of all these products, how to take advantage of the elevated rates rather than keeping your money idle in the savings account. So quickly, we just go through our products again. I know that last week we had a client who had requested to know more about the yields on these funds. While we were trying to make this presentation, we had a little mix-up in the slides. But after this meeting, we already have an email program to go out. So to tell us more about the yields on the various funds, the performance of the funds over a certain period of time, and probably a projection, considering the outlook in the market. And like I've always maintained, these products afford you the opportunity to take advantage of the high rates in the market. The least fixed income fund, on average for the past 5 years, we've seen an average yield of about 16%. And this year so far, we've done so well in terms of yield. The projection and the projection so far will be sent out after this meeting, for further information. But you can invest in this fund with as low as a 50,000, 100,000 naira. You can invest in this fund. Also, the lead balance fund with a mixture of both the equities and the fixed income space. You don't want to be really exposed to the fixed income market, and likewise, you don't want to stay out of it. So this is a very good fund for you. It has a mixed exposure with the fixed income space and then the equity space. And then the lead dollar fund, you're an investor, you have dollar flows,
Sorry, I missed your call.
dollar inflows or dollar.
Actually,
You can invest in actually affords you the opportunity to also enjoy benefits that abound in the
for
Wednesday. And for Eurobond trading, and I've constantly mentioned this, your clients, you have FX inflows, you have dollars, and then you're wondering, you're curious as to what can I do with my funds. I think was it 2 weeks ago we had a client that indicated interest in this, and we're very happy that some of other clients has also reached out to know how to go about with the Eurobond trading. But the minimum size for this Eurobond trading is $200,000 and above. It gives you the opportunity to take advantage of opportunities in the Eurobond space. And the good thing about this is that your coupon payments, everything will be paid in dollars. You can receive your coupon directly in dollars. Not that there's a threat, oh, my coupon will be converted into naira and all. All these various product offerings are there for our clients to take advantage of them. And should you have further questions about them, we'll be more than happy to provide answers and clarification as required. And this will come to the end. With this, we come to the end of the presentation for this morning. If you have client questions, unique clarifications, inquiries about any of the things we've spoken about, and probably things outside of this, we'll be more than happy to take them at this point. Thank you so much for listening. Okay, yes, please. If you have questions, just signify by a raise of hand. There's this icon on the chat. Okay, we have a question here. He said, how often does company valuation changes, and how does stock prices affect valuation?
Okay, for the company valuation, it's something you can only determine when you say corporate result from the company, and that can happen on quarterly basis because we operate in a regulated environment. Every quarter, every 6 months, 9 months, and a year, every listed company is expected to file a result to the NGX and other regulatory bodies as well. So by the time you look at the account of the company, you see what the company has done in terms of the asset turnover, and then in terms of revenue, and then in terms of the prices of the stock movements. That will give you the true company valuation, because these are the financial information you need to put into the account for you to be able to get the true value of that company. So revenue, net asset margin, interest margin, and other financial informations are also very important. So on quarterly basis, you can actually get new valuation for those companies.
Okay, thank you so much for providing answers to that. If we have clients, other people that have questions, please signify by a raise of hand, and your mic will be unmuted. Okay, we have another question here. What do you think the NTB rates would be in the upcoming auction? Okay, it is a bit dicey. We can't say for certainty or for sure what the rates would be, but taking a clue from the expected decision by the MPC, where we are looking at NPR being increased by an average of between 150 to 250 basis points from 22.75. So what that simply tells us is that we are likely going to see a slightly improved yields on the auction. I know at the last auction, the 1 year NTB had closed around 20.14. So what that tells us is that we should see at least maybe a 50 basis points increase from the previous rate. So our prediction would be that on the 1 year NTB, we should see rates touching as high as 20.75 or between 20.5 to 21 points. Between 20.5 and 20.5 here and 21.5. That would be our prediction. Anywhere we find comfortable as a client, it depends on how aggressive you want to be in terms of risk taking. We have some clients who might just want to be very less aggressive. Oh, I must win this bid. They want to go on the lower end of the expected rate guide. My expectation is that between 20.5 and 21.5, anywhere between that span, would be a very good space for the rate to close, and that will give us an average yield of about 27-28% in terms of yield. So that will be our expectation for the auction this week. If there are other questions, please signify by a raise of hand, or you can drop the message in the chat box. Okay, we have another question here. The client says, when are we likely going to see a reversal in rates? For now, it is quite hard to tell, and that is because, like my colleague had rightly said earlier, the whole goal or the whole motive of increasing rates is to fight inflation, and with inflation still at 31.7, that clearly tells us that we might not see a reversal in rates for now. But I believe that as soon as we start to see a decline in inflation rates, I believe the CBN would also most likely bring down the rates in order to more like match what the inflation is doing. But for now, with inflation at 31.7 and projected to also increase by next month, we don't see rate cuts happening anytime soon. But if you have to give a timeline, we would say before Q3 2024 or by end of Q2, we should start seeing some moderation. Okay, another question here. Any information on CHAMS?
Hello. There's no any. It depends on where the perspective you are talking from. So is it on the dividends? So the only thing is that the company is planning to also raise money, and then as soon as they notify the markets, or look at the size of amount they are raising and how they want to raise it. Either it's going to be a public offer or right issue. But for now, there's no any public information about the CHAMS. The only thing we know that is active in the market and people are trading on the stock.
Okay, thank you so much. If there are other questions, please signify by a raise of hand, or you can as well drop your questions in the chat box. Okay, another question here. Okay, sorry, we have someone who has indicated that he wants to. Mr. Olusegun, your mic has been unmuted. You can unmute yourself, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Can you hear me? Hello?
No, sir, we can hear you, sir.
I want to ask if there's any update about Dangote, Dangote food, merger, NASCON and Dangote rice or something.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. That's the Dangote Sugar and NASCON allied company. Are to merge and be listed and be relisted in the market as Dangote Food with Dangote Rice, which is the limited company. And no any other information now other than they've notified the SEC and they are waiting for the final approval from the SEC. Once the final approval is gotten from the SEC and the board will meet and then they will decide on the new pricing, that company will be relisted in the market. So for now, the two companies that are trading pari passu in the market, the Dangote Sugar and the NASCON, they are trading. But as soon as the merger is being consolidated, the company will become one and they'll be relisted as Dangote Food. But for now, sir, no any further information as regards the times to be listed. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, another question here. How can I monitor my investments? Okay, yes, you can monitor your investments directly from your mobile device. We have a mobile application called the Lead Trader app. You can go to your app store, either Google Play Store or Apple Store, to download the applications and the application rather, Once you download, you sign in. If you're having issues with sign up or signing in, you can always send us an email and we'll be more than happy to help. So with that, you can monitor your investment directly from your phone. In case you want to do a top up, you want to do a redemption, whatever it is you want to do, you can get to do that directly from the mobile app. And on this note, we would like to put an end to the session at this point. Okay, sorry, one last question before we end, please. Is Fidelity raising new capital?
So the information is on the markets now, but it's not impossible because over time we may see banks coming to the market to raise money to meet their capitalization. Central Bank has not announced the new capitalization, but for now, there's no information in the market as regards whether they are raising money.
Okay, thank you so much, everyone, for joining. We thank you for taking out the time to join us at this session, and we wish every one of you a very lovely day and a great week ahead. Thank you so much.